Hey guys, a couple of months ago I got the opportunity to interview my mom, and I had such a fun time with it. I learned so much about her and myself. I was reviewing the material and I thought it'd be a great thing to be able to bring to you guys and share with you. So here's a few clips from that interview that I thought you guys might enjoy. My mom is the one who started me in the business, right? She's the one who influenced me as I grew up. You know, I didn't have a choice in it. It's what you did, right? When you split up with dad, you got in the business. And then I remember you contemplating what you want to do. You know, what am I going to do? How am I going to make ends meet and support these two kids that I've got to raise in Laguna Beach? And Laguna Beach at that time was not the rich place that it is now. It was just a seaside little artist colony that we just happened to land in. Thank God we did, because I'm so fortunate and so happy that you landed in Laguna, you know, because I've turned that into my whole life. You know, living in Laguna has become my life and a career, and it doesn't feel like it's something that I work at. But so I don't know how you made ends meet during the early mid 70s. That was the time we're talking about. And then I remember you making this decision to get into real estate. How do you recall it? I know it was chaos for you at that time too, and you're like, holy shit, what are we going to do?
I recall it as being one of those big decisions in my life of where I always take a yellow pad down to the beach.
Yep.
And I write down all the pros and the cons and what I really think and what's going on. And when I got to how can a woman without a professional history make some money?
Okay.
Enough to raise two kids. And I went to every possibility that I could think of. And the only one I came up with was real estate. And it's true.
Mm-hmm. I love that about real estate too, because I think you have, it's a career for anybody. You know, I mean,
especially a gift to women.
Yeah. Well, some of the most influential, powerful agents in our circle right now are women. You know, women do a great job for sure. But I think that's the beauty of real estate is the fact that anybody, all sorts of personalities make it, all sorts of styles make it. There's no cookie cutter recipe of exactly what makes the perfect real estate agent. And I think that to me is the beauty of it. And that was what was so attractive to me when I got into it.
Yeah.
Was this idea that I could reinvent myself into who I am and create a business that works really well with who I am. And I could adjust that to make it work for me and my personality. You got into real estate, and then you also did some other things that I think, you know, allowed you to expand real estate, but also allow you the outlet to kind of feed that creative side of you that was so, important to you and such a big part of who you were at that time. You know, all the art stuff and all the creativity and, you know, that stuff to me I thought was really cool. And I thought, without knowing it, I just observed you as I grew up in what you were doing and still maintaining the art and still maintaining stained glass work and some of the houses you put your stained glass windows in. I remember the Fogarassi house.
I do too, yeah.
Shit, why do I get emotional when I do this stuff?
Oh, no.
But we're in Tahoe for 3 years. What drove you guys back to Laguna ultimately?
24 hours a day. We had 2 restaurants, 2 bars, 35 rooms, 120 acres. There were 3 girls running them. When we bought the lodge, the owner wasn't sure we could handle it, and the owner still lived in the lodge. And he came to Laguna Beach 3 times to meet with us about, do you girls really think you can do this? Do you know that once a year the lodge floods, including fish? We would have great floods after the snowstorms that would cause some fish to come through the building. But a whole lot of things he was worried about we couldn't handle, like Big Bertha, the big heater, the leach fields, lots of stuff. And we just kept saying, you don't know who you're talking to. Of course we can handle it. And so he finally believed it, and he allowed us to buy it.
And so you did that for 3 years. And again, I think what I was getting at is like, to me, getting back to the real estate thing and wanting to come back to Laguna and underestimating what it would take to actually operate a hotel that experiences 4 seasons and what that really meant. And then I personally think the community of Laguna and that life that you had there was such an important part of your existence that you guys, all 3 of you, wanted to come back. I mean, there was a magnetism to Laguna that always, once you're here, you can't leave, in a sense, you know, or you hope you can't leave. Eventually, you end up opening State of the Arts, which is a retail store, an art store, because you brought back that creative element into you and your appreciation of really nice things and fine art and things like that. And you guys had some real cutting edge art. You had some real cutting edge products and just real high end, super cool stuff. And again, that's all in the backdrop of doing real estate too at that time. Were you still doing real estate then?
I don't think
Not
so.
as much.
But I had gained that reputation of being a person who deals with fine arts and all that. And we did a show for the Bag One show. What's his name?
John Lennon.
John Lennon's bag show. And we were in the LA Times quite often. And
It was a cutting edge store and got a lot of traction. People liked it. People came to see it because it was a neat store to go check out, right?
For sure, yeah.
What is your most memorable transaction that you've done, in your career? What was it? And I think you were touching on it, with that guy and the 3 ocean fronts and things like that.
Yeah, that's always my most memorable one, but not a good one.
And I remember that too. I mean, that's why I said I remember the 2 properties being side by side, and I remember the 3rd property, and I remember what a big deal it was that you had those 2 listings, those 2 properties, right?
And then I did sell all 3 of them, and he walked away from paying the commission.
Wow. So
I never made a dime, and I went through all that shit.
So the funny part was like in preparation for this interview today and what we were going to do today, I started just doing a little bit of research on before and then and what's going on, what's the difference between when you were in the business and what is happening today. And that transaction by far is the most memorable one that I have for you as a kid growing up. Anyway, so what I do is I'm like, okay, I'm going to dig, I'm going to find some, before and after and today versus back then, right? But I do some digging and that house is on the market.
For how much? $10 million.
You tell me. It's the 2 houses. It's the 2 houses side by side. It's a compound. Remember you drive in, it was a gate, it was like a compound. It opened up to 2 houses. And I remember when these came on the market. They've been on the market for about 5 months now. I don't know why I get emotional, but it was a weird time for me at that time. But so anyway, in preparation for this, I dig into title and I'm like, I remember those houses coming on the market at some point in the history.
What was an address?
32177 or 75. 32177.
I remember them very well, yes.
So just outside of Three Arch Bay, just to the north of Three Arch Bay, these undeveloped houses, they were pretty beat up, but I remember how much pride and how much effort you put into them, right? And how excited you were to develop these things and bring them to the market and all of that. And then they came on just 4 months or so ago, and I remember, and I'm like, without thinking that you and I are going to...
You're getting mixed up in your story a bit, though.
I don't think so, but go on. Maybe I am.
There's a whole thing about buying those shit. I put together a group to buy them.
So what happened?
Nothing to do with the man from Hawaii.
But he was the original owner. Okay, then you tell me what happened. How did you?
I don't think he was.
Well, how'd you end up buying the houses then?
I can't remember. I just bought them.
I know, but you had the listing. You got the listing from him, and then you couldn't sell them, and then you bought them from him. Is that what ended up happening, do you think? And these were super important, and we spent a lot of time over there getting these things fixed up and ready, right?
Yeah, right.
And I remember when they were ready, and we had a big open house for them, and there was a big party, and there was, I think, valet parking, and it was a big event when these houses were unveiled, so to speak, right?
After we had fixed them up?
Yes. Okay. I remember not that long ago, you and I sitting, when I was first getting in the business, sitting down at the Riviera Hotel, sitting with Port Pearson, one of the owners of the Riviera Hotel. And part of that hotel, there's a house that's adjacent to it, right, that comes with it. It's separate, but it's part of the property. And we sat there and, at the time we had thought that property would be worth, the house specifically would be $5 million. And it was on the ocean, right? And that wasn't that long ago. And you go, mark my word. I remember you saying this. I remember you going, mark my word, that will be worth $10 million in no time. And I'm like, whoa, Mom, that's pretty freaking bullish of you to even say that in front of these people. You're going out on a limb and telling us that is going to happen. And I didn't believe it. I didn't have the experience at that time to know the level of appreciation that real estate goes through to know that it's going to double. And sure enough, that was literally probably 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
Really?
We sat in with him, told him that. And now that house, I guarantee, is worth $15 million, It's way more than 10 million. So there is plenty of business in this business to go around for everybody. There really is.
Absolutely.
And I think so for me, over the past year, 2 years, let's call it, really been focusing on letting go of that idea of being somebody else. Like, how can I be like that person? I just want to be me, and I just want to be comfortable being me. And hopefully I've got enough resources, enough experience, enough background that people feel comfortable, confident, that I know my way around the business and know how to hold somebody's hand as you go through it, whether it be Laguna Beach specifically, Orange County, or anywhere. And to me, it's about being a good person and doing the right thing. And again, that's the thing that I think you taught me so well, is always do the right thing.
Right, there's no two.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's really easy in this business to get caught up in doing the quick thing, you know, and what's going to make me the most money right now, as opposed to what's going to make me the most money, give me the most credibility in the long run. And sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do. But Mom, I think too, you think that you don't have your mind and your sharpness and all that stuff. And you still, when we have these conversations, you're still sharp and you still bring in good ideas around real estate, around negotiation.
I still, it just takes me longer. I know it's there, but it takes me a while.
But that is, I mean, that's the stuff to me that's so cool about our business, is it does. It allows you to have fun, be creative, work numbers, work technology. There's all sorts of little pieces to this business that make it up, and I think it's fun.
While you're talking, I'm realizing one of the things I really appreciated about that was it put me in front of people all the time that I was competitive with, that I could.
Inspired you.
I'm always learning something.
Yep.
Constantly. I love to learn stuff, and you get that constantly with real estate.
Mm-hmm. Me too, and new stuff all the time.
Right.
And I do. I love it.
Variation of people, and
And it's taught me to do. There's nothing that I won't do. I mean, literally, there's nothing I won't. I mean, breaking the rules to a certain degree, but you know what I mean. There's nothing I'm too proud. There are days when I'm tired, and there are days when I don't want to deal with that same client again, who just doesn't seem to get it. But I still like the challenge. I still like coming out the other side of it. I still like knowing it's gonna work itself out. You know, it's gonna be okay. So anyway, what else? Do you want to ask me anything? Do you have any pointers for me? What would you tell me? A young little whippersnapper at 55 getting into the business.
I think you do it wonderfully. I mean, I love you. You're one of the most. It's an easy one.
That's a big question. What's the word? You've had a lot of descriptions of me in the past.
One of the most, not congenial, but one of the most likable personalities. You know, you have a lot of charisma.
Thank you.
And you speak well. You're not afraid to speak ever. Listen up. Ever.
Okay.
No, I don't know what I would tell you, but I would certainly stay with you on the always do the right thing, and always the truth will come out.
Where do you think you got your most business from? What did you do in the business to generate the most business when you were back then?
I love math. I love dealing with numbers.
Okay.
And figuring out, comparing things and analyzing things. I mean,
Yeah, you definitely took that to a different level than most people did at your time. I mean,
right.
you were
and
very
to this
analytical.
Day, nobody analyzes really which one's selling.
I know. Even I don't do it to the degree you do.
Yeah,
you know, that
I
you
still
did.
do it.
I don't,
Right.
like, to me, I'm like, my mom would analyze this way more than I don't go as far as you did in some of that.
Yeah.
You know? But I think what you taught me in that is, the other thing is always give 100% for me. Like, I don't half-ass anything. I really don't. And it's like, even when I'm cleaning toilets or sweeping or whatever, I do what I work my ass off, you know, and I do it right. And there's, no matter what you're doing, do it right. And, you know, I'm trying to convey that to my kids. It's hard, you know.
Proud of it.
But even when I'm doing stuff, I'm washing windows or stuff that, you know, I want to do it right. So,
But you didn't when you were 12.
I didn't.
13.
No, I didn't.
You didn't, or 16 even.
Yep.
You know?
Not at all. Even at 30, I didn't.
Really?
You know.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably tried to shortcut and get, you know.
So you need to give your kids a break.
For sure.
And just let them be who they are.
Yeah. We're not going into that. That's not an interview. We're not going into child psychology right now, all right? No.
Right.
Good.
Great.
But Mom, again, I thanked you before, but I just want to make sure you know how much I appreciate you spending time to do this. And we'll have this for a long time and have, you know, and I like it. And I like to be able to look back and go, to have experiences sitting here with you. And
I love this about you. You're really into history,
mm-hmm.
you know, and keeping that around for your grandkids.
I do love that.
I know.
I really do.
Very
And I love that about our experience and you. You know, I didn't know it when I'm accumulating that growing up, but I still have a lot of memories that I recall.
Yeah.
If this is good or bad, but I retain a lot of stuff, and it's super helpful for me today.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love you. Thank you. And maybe we'll do another interview in 10 years and update this one.
Okay. Good. Yep.
All right.
We'll do it.
Cool.
Thanks for doing it.